This video covers TRiQSoft cultivation, including best practices, cost monitoring, budgeting, cultivation traceability and compliance, and cultivation quality control. The TRiQSoft solution uses tasks to control employees, to record the materials that are used during the cultivation process, and to gather the hours of labor and the equipment that's used. Also, this allows the system to manage and monitor traceability costs and prepare budgetary information. Most employees will only ever see this screen right here. You can see a list of your tasks that apply to the employee who's logged into a system. Normally they will log in using a tablet, but you can also use a smartphone or a netbook or laptop. These buttons are available here. Obviously you can turn them off if that particular employee doesn't need to see those buttons. And all of these menus here will not normally be available for most employees because they won't have permission for these particular items on the menu. They won't be able to see them when they sign in. Employees can open a task from this screen. For example, this fertilizing task, and they can see what materials they're supposed to use on a task. In this case, I'm supposed to use Biocannagrow 5 mil, and I can fill out with estimated inventory to actually use the exact quantities I was told to use by my boss. So during this phase, the system's obviously capturing the traceability details of the inventory that was used. We have scanned the barcode label on the inventory material, or we've manually entered the inventory number depending on what equipment your business is using. The system has also gathered the cost of this material in the background and has actually added that cost to this particular cost center, this particular batch of cannabis. And obviously our inventory has been adjusted by 5 units of that particular material. So when a task's finished, I can simply say this task is finished and it will disappear from my list. And I can also record employees that might work on a task and equipment that might be used on a task too. And you can obviously set the cost for your employee labor and your equipment labor. So this task has now disappeared from the list. That was fertilization task number 48, I think it was, and is no longer available on this list. So as I go through my tasks during the day, obviously these tasks will continue to disappear as I finish my tasks. And by the end of the day, hopefully there'll be no tasks left for me to perform. Now these task types are quite flexible. In TRiQSoft, the system comes with standard task types. You can actually change them to meet your requirements. For example, here's a task type we've created called Daily Checklist. It has associated with it a type of quality control checklist. And also this task type may have other details that we want to gather during the process. For example, we can add some fields that we might want the employee to record during the process of performing this particular task, for example. So we can actually tailor the TRiQSoft system very quickly and easily to record any additional details your company requires during the cultivation process. So during the cultivation process, management can also monitor the progress of different employees or even teams of employees using the My Task screen. But what will normally happen is management will use this screen here called the Farm Diary. This screen allows you to see what's going on different areas or different crop batches within the business. So we can analyze different areas, and we can even look at different dates, for example, or use our day, month, or week view or timeline view to monitor the tasks that are going on in the business. We can see here these task 35 and task 19 is crossed out, so that means that they're finished. They've been completed by the employee. These tasks that are red, obviously they're a bit late. They haven't been completed. And we can edit the tasks from this screen and change their values the same way employees can from their My Task screen. We can also drag and drop these tasks. If we can see that it's late and it's not going to be finished in time, we can change the date or the time of that task to match the labor that we have available for that particular task. We've looked at a fertilization task from the My Task screen. Let's look at another task type now. Let's look at a daily checklist. So different tasks can have different behavior, and you'll see with this task, it's going to ask us to do a quality control test. So most employers will use a tablet to record these tests. You can configure these tests for your business's requirements. TRiQSoft comes with a series of standardized quality control tests, and you can add to these or subtract from them as is required. If there's a problem during tests, if I find an issue, let's say I found some fungal gnat, the system's going to ask me for a response, and it's actually asking me which plant does it start on and which plant does it stop on. So I'm just going to say plant 5 and 6 is the start and stop plants. Now I can attach a photograph to this particular quality control test. I could take my own photo using a tablet of the 2 trees or the 2 plants that are affected by the fungal gnats. And the system can also be configured optionally for each different type of test to send emails to up to 5 employees. So for each different type of test, you may have many types of tests in your system. You can choose who's going to receive a copy of that quality control test emailed automatically to them so they can view it from wherever they happen to be and possibly create another task to tell the employee to do another corrective action if necessary. So during this process, while I'm testing for fungal gnats, I might have some questions. So I can just click on the image and I can see further details for fungal gnats. You can also attach documents and PDFs and XLS documents to these tests as well if you need to give the employees further details. So basically, the system comes with these standardized tests, and these really help to ensure your team will hit the ground running with your TRiQSoft solution. By using these tests, the system is basically enforcing that we're checking for the right things at the right time. And so if there is any doubt about anything, you can always look for further details. And if you do have high employee turnover, this is very handy for getting people into the groove of their particular job very quickly. And as I said before, these tests can be tailored to your requirements. If you don't have a certain pest or disease in your region, then obviously you would remove that from the test, so you don't have to have your employees participating in those particular tests. Now that we've finished that daily checklist, it's crossed out now. We can see that it's been finished. And that's basically the way that all of these tasks are going to operate within TRiQSoft. So during the process, we've been gathering information in the background. The system's been adding up the costs of all the materials that we've been using, and it's been putting them onto each particular cost center, and each cost center is what we call a crop batch, a batch of cannabis during the cultivation life cycle. So we can actually analyze what are the different costs for these products using dozens of different KPI reports. So you can look at your key performance indicators from many different angles, even like the cost per gram for fertilizing, the cost per gram for all production tasks, and so on. So there's lots of different ways we can analyze the costs. For example, let's look at the this chart here is showing us by each different cost center or each different crop batch, what are the individual costs broken up by category. So we've got harvest, fertilizer, watering, pesticide application, and so on. So we can see that those individual costs. Obviously, this is a sample database here. This is not a real database. We can also look at tabular reporting, cost by task type, different types of costs, and this is showing us cost per plant, for example. So some reports you can report by crop area or by per plant or per other metrics as available on that report, like this one that has day, week, month, year, etc. This is for showing analysis of task costs over a period of time. And you'll also note that you can see the individual records that make up the details used to calculate these costs. So you can turn that on and off for each report depending on your preferences if you need to see details. So there's lots of different ways of analyzing the production costs, the cultivation costs throughout TRiQSoft. And obviously the idea here is that you can compare different strains, different species of cannabis between each other and see the performance, see the costs for producing this product. And then obviously you can follow that through the system through to what is the actual sales price of that product. Therefore, what is my most profitable product during these processes. These tasks that we're looking at right here, they could have been manually created, or we could have created them at any time using our best practice system. So to manually create a task, we just click New and select the task and enter the details for that task. But to make your life easier, TRiQSoft has developed a solution that will allow you to automatically generate all of these tasks. The system will not only generate these tasks for you, it will actually estimate the quantity of inventory and employees and equipment you will need for each task and the amount of time that it should take to perform that task, and obviously also the date on which that task needs to be performed. From this information, we can obviously save ourselves a lot of time by not having to manually create these tasks, but also we're enforcing the best practice, because you can make a best practice for each different strain or group of strains that have similar production methods. So this means that every time you produce this particular product, the system's going to automatically create these tasks and estimate all your required materials and employee labor. This means that you cannot forget to do a daily checklist, for example, because it's right there on your diary. It can't be forgotten. So all of these things are going to be automatically put into your diary, and this ensures that you're going to get your maximum possible yield and quality of product because you are following the best practice at all times. When the employees look at their tablet, they will see a list of the things that were created by the best practice system. So all these tasks is going to guide them through the best possible process to ensure we get maximum yield and quality of product. As another bonus for using the best practice system, you can actually create budgets automatically. When you use the best practice system, it has generated a list of the materials that we're estimating we're going to need. You can also obviously analyze these materials. So we can say, well, we need 2 hours of farm labor in the month of April, for example. And we can also see that we need 100 units of neem oil, and it's going to cost us $13. So obviously this is just sample data you're looking at in this database. We can also see the total cost for the month. We can use this information to plan just-in-time delivery of materials from our suppliers and manufacturers. We can also use this to ensure that we have enough labor available, and also for basic cash flow planning purposes. And this is all automatically generated simply by using the best practice system to generate these tasks to go into your farm diary. So we can also analyze our budgets using actual data. So we were just looking at estimated data. Let's look at some actual data now. Here on the left in this gold bar, we can see that the cost for this particular crop batch should be $2,200. But the actual cost has been $1,700 to date. So we can actually analyze different crops in real time, every day or once a week or whenever you prefer. And this ensures that you have the ability to take a corrective action. If you are going significantly over or under budget, at least you're going to be aware of it, and if possible, you'll be able to take a corrective action before it's going to cost your business any significant quality or yield. So this is a very important tool for monitoring what's going on in the business from a financial perspective. But this goes down to individual crop batches instead of just the whole business. You can analyze individual batches at a time. So look across the entire farm. So instead of looking at individual batches, let's look at the entire cultivation process on all our sites for this month. Should have cost us $4,000. It only actually cost us $1,614, and that means we're $2,800 under budget. So you can also analyze information from a macro point of view as well. During the cultivation process, we've been gathering traceability information on each task. So every time we use a material, it's coming out of our inventory system, and the balance of that material is being updated, so we always know how much material we have on hand. But we can also do a recall for that material. So if a supplier or manufacturer of, let's say, Biocanna Grow has contacted us and said, we've accidentally given you a contaminated material, wherever you've sprayed that material, you need to do a recall on that cannabis. You need to find out which customers have purchased it, which dispensaries have that product. If you still have that product in your warehouse, etc., find that product and destroy the product. So simply using the supplier's batch number or the supplier's lot number or the manufacturer's lot number, we can trace that product. And so here we can see that for lot number 1234, it was used on OG Kush 1, which is the name of our internal crop batch. And if that product from that batch was used in a manufacturing batch, like we made some oil or we made some rolled smokable product, we could see which batches it was used in. So in this case, it wasn't used in anything. So we can very quickly track product with food grade traceability. Throughout the process, we've been using inventory. That inventory comes from our inventory system, which allows you to create inventory, make purchase orders to acquire inventory, and perform approvals on purchase orders, and analyze what inventory is coming, perform stock takes using a tablet, or you can print them out and do them the old-fashioned way with a pen and paper, and also analyze what inventory you have on hand and the value of inventory and so on. So there's a full inventory management system which can manage all of your cultivation materials. So let's have a look at one last task type here. Let's have a look at a harvest task. Normally in a business, you will have a trolley, and on that trolley, you will have a tablet or a laptop or a netbook. You can, if you have a tablet, you can scan the barcode on the cannabis plant. All plants in TRiQSoft have a barcode or at least their plant number attached to them. You can record the weight of the product that you're harvesting. So we're harvesting, let's say, 1,200 grams. Obviously, the system can be configured to be used in imperial or metric based on your requirements. Let's say we found some mold on this plant too. We found 100 grams of mold. If you have hanger cereals, you can scan the barcode that has the hanger serial number on there, or you can enter that manually, or you may not use hangers in your business. A lot of businesses are hanging product immediately upon harvest. You may also record some leaf, stem, and trim during this process. You can also optionally put labels on your product. We've got some inventory numbers here, 162 and 163. We don't need to print labels because we've used hangers here. But if you're not using hangers, obviously you need to put labels on your product. So I've finished harvesting that plant. Now I could go through the process again and continue harvesting other plants. So this brings us to the end of the cultivation cycle in TRiQSoft. We're now going to move more towards the manufacturing and processing side of the solution. So please see subsequent videos to continue this process.